Did you know that TYT now has a full audio network? On top of our existing lineup, this launch is going to bring you brand new slate of podcasts, including Mouthy, Messy, Mandatory with Katie Anthony and Ronit Fanglass Plank. Now that's a weekly show that discusses everything from family to really funny and fantastic women. To get more info on the show and the whole TYT audio network, visit tyt.com/audio. So Peter Fonda is a legendary actor in his own right and obviously part of a legendary family of actors. Jane Fonda, Henry Fonda, Bridget Fonda, etc. Henry Fonda, obviously his father, Bridget his daughter, and Jane his sister. Man, conservatives already did not like the Fonda family, especially Jane Fonda for what happened in the Vietnam War. Now, wait till they get a load of Peter Fonda. So Peter Fonda is at a point in his life where apparently he has gotten to what I call no holds barred. And that's exactly what he did. He's certainly very, very upset about the policy of taking away kids at the border from their parents. And he went on Twitter and let everybody know about it. Now, some of what I'm going to read to you is pretty out there, okay? So warning, and there is some language here. Kirstjen Nielsen, he says, that's the Department of Homeland Security head, is a lying gash that should be put in a cage and poked at by passerby. The gash should be pilloried in Lafayette Square naked and whipped by passersby while being filmed for posterity. No, she shouldn't. Okay, that's a really bad idea. So, look, the visual of her being naked and whipped is terrible. If you're progressive, don't go in that direction. Don't go in the direction of any of this violent imagery, let alone the sexualization there that's going on. There's about 1,000 different problems there, let alone the word gash. And if you're unclear about what that means, well, he's unfortunately going to clarify it because the next tweet's about Sarah Sanders. Ooh. So he says Sarah Sanders is a lying gash too. And a gash is much worse than the C word. Maybe we should take her children away and deport her to Arkansas and giving her children to Stephen Goebbels Miller for safekeeping. Wow, okay. Well, Peter Fonda is definitely angry. I don't know if there was any Ambien involved, but those are very, very strong words. Now, I'll get to my opinions about this in a second, but we're not anywhere near done with insane tweets. I mean, enraged tweets for sure, at a minimum. So now he's going all caps. So now it gets, how could it get worse? Well, find out. He says, want to stop this effing monster. That's fine. Really want to stop this giant asshole, he asks. 90 million people in the streets on the same weekend. These Republican assholes are all in on it. The chief asshole is happy. We're all very upset. We have to get even more angry with these Republicans. This tweet is filled with insults and invective and cursing. Don't care, that's fine. You could say that about Republicans, you could say it about Democrats, and both sides say that stuff all the time. It doesn't have the other problems. But let's keep going. He says, we should dip Barron Trump, that's the president's 11-year-old son, from his, we should rip Barron Trump from his mother's arms and put him in a cage with pedophiles and see if mother will stand up against the giant asshole she's married to. 90 million people in the streets on the same weekend in the country, and then ends it with the F word. Don't do that, okay. Melania Trump asked the Secret Service to look into it. I think that is a fair request. Don't do anything to Barron Trump. Don't do anything to anybody's kids. In fact, I think I've got one more for you guys. This was a reference to the agents. So he also tweeted, we should hack this system, get the addresses of the ICE agents, the CBP agents, and surround their homes in protest. Don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Okay, anyway, we should find out what schools their children go to and surround the schools in protest. These agents are doing this because they want to do it, they like doing this, and again, the F word. Okay, disastrous. Don't surround anybody's home, don't go after their kids. Now, I think that Washington is unfamiliar with the aggressive left. And that's because it's a little bit of a new phenomenon, and it's among the young mostly, but Peter Fonda has decided, I'm going to join their ranks, and significantly so. A lot of people in Washington think that, for example, I'm the radical left. I'm left, I'm very progressive, no question about that. But you ain't seen the radical left. And they exist, and they're carrying pitchforks. So I would have imagined that it would be a young person who would say something like this and get themselves in a lot of trouble. But it turns out, no, in this case, it's Henry Fonda. I'm sorry, Peter Henry Fonda. And what he's doing is saying, hey, two can play at this game. You guys want to rip kids away? We can rip kids away. You guys want to do violent imagery and violent talk? We can do violent imagery and violent talk. I don't think either side should do that, and I think it's a bad idea. But in a sense, the battle is joined. I don't want it to be. I don't want the right wing to come. I don't want the left wing to do any of this stuff. So I have the same standards for him as I do for Roseanne Barr or anyone else. But look, is there a reasonable way to fight back super strong without going in this direction? First of all, politically, of course, always with politics, right? But you could have gone and said something along the lines of, like, if Democrats win, we should consider taking away parents from, Republican parents from their kids if we perceive that they broke the law in one way or another. Now, look, do I want Republican kids and parents broken up? Of course not, right? But we talked about this in the context of voter suppression. So every time they do voter suppression in a red state, we should threaten to do it in a blue state. So now that is politics. Am I in favor of voter suppression? Absolutely not. But the Democrats constantly lying down isn't helping. This kind of extreme rhetoric is also not helping. There is a way to fight back super aggressively, but not going in this direction, because it's just going to be used against you, and it's just not the right thing to do anyway. But now, to be fair to the Republicans, well, actually, I have one more quote from Peter Fonda before I get to the Republicans. He also said, by the way, we need to scare the F out of them, need to make their children worry now. Don't do that, don't do that. Their kids didn't do anything wrong either, okay? Once we start surrounding each other's homes, there's no end to it. And we're headed towards civil war and madness and chaos. And by the way, the left does not usually win in that kind of chaos, and that's not what we want. We want rule of law. We want our democracy back. We want to actually follow the Constitution. The right wing does not appreciate our democracy, so don't go in this direction. So as I was saying though, no, to be fair to the Republicans, they are free speech advocates. So they stood up in unison and said, Peter Fonda should be able to say these things with no problem at all. Oh, they didn't. Oh, that's weird. It turns out he has a movie coming out, and Donald Trump Jr., among many others, tweeted, quote, and another, now Fonda is targeting the kids of law enforcement. Hey, Sony Pictures, are you going to sit back and let this and his child rape fantasies go? Your silence almost reads like you're okay with it. Please clarify, as I've heard you have a movie with him dropping soon. And they do. Okay, look, I think it's a fair request. Some on the left requested that Roseanne Barr's show not air. Now they're striking back on this. On the other hand, I thought you guys were the ones against political correctness. I thought the right-wingers were like, hey man, you snowflakes, what are you getting all upset over, man? Roseanne Barr's just saying her opinions. She's just speaking the truth. She's just speaking the truth. So why don't you just take it? Hey, you guys hate freedom of speech. We're in favor of freedom of speech. All right, well, I don't like what Peter Fonda said. I don't like what Roseanne Barr said. I'm consistent on it. But if you guys were going to be consistent, you'd say, so what? Let Peter Fonda say whatever he wants. Let him be in the movie. It's totally fine. Freedom of speech, freedom of speech. I went and looked around Twitter. I just couldn't find any right-wingers defending Peter Fonda's freedom of speech. Funny how that works. It's almost as if they don't actually care about that concept, and they're not principled, and they're just playing games. All right, but for everybody on the left thinking of going in this direction, bring it down, way down. That doesn't help your cause and it doesn't help anybody's cause. So I know that Trump has egged on a ton of people in this country, but we gotta fight politically and not take the bait and sink to their level. Don't get me wrong, I'm not the kind of guy who's like, oh, when they go low, we go high. No, when they go low, I'm willing to punch them in the face, as long as it's political and not in this direction. 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.